The silent wealth destroyer. Nobody warns you about. There's a financial trap that's draining the life savings of millions, and most people don't even realize they're caught in it. If you're serious about breaking free from the cycle that keeps ordinary people financially stuck, you need to understand what's quietly sabotaging your path to prosperity. Picture this: a breakdown of monthly spending for the typical household. Among all these expenses, one category stands out as particularly devastating to your financial future. But which one? Let's examine each piece of this puzzle. Housing costs? They consume the largest portion of most budgets, true. Yet despite the hefty price tag, shelter remains a fundamental necessity. You need somewhere to call home. What about taxation? Certainly unpopular, though some financial experts argue for their societal value. We'll set that debate aside for now. Consider utilities and household bills. While these aren't enjoyable expenses, savvy consumers can significantly reduce them through comparison shopping and negotiation. Then there are countless smaller expenditures scattered throughout the month. The advantage here, most offer flexibility and can be adjusted based on your priorities. This brings us to the final category, and here's where things get interesting. Have you figured it out yet? Transportation. Specifically, the personal vehicle sitting in your driveway or parking spot. Vehicle payments, insurance premiums, fuel costs, maintenance bills, parking fees, all these expenses feed an asset that diminishes in value with every passing day. Consider this sobering reality. The typical new vehicle now carries a price tag approaching $48,000. This isn't an asset that appreciates. This isn't something building your net worth. For the vast majority, it's essentially a financial vacuum on wheels. Among all household expenses, transportation, particularly vehicle ownership, represents the single most destructive force against wealth accumulation, and the situation is deteriorating rapidly: the growing crisis of vehicle debt. The explosion in vehicle-related debt has reached unprecedented levels. The numbers tell a disturbing story. Rewind to 2005. Total automotive loan obligations stood at $720 billion. Jump ahead 5 years, that figure climbed to $850 billion. By 2020, we witnessed a massive surge to $1.38 trillion. Today, in 2025, we've reached a record-breaking $1.62 trillion in outstanding auto debt. This astronomical growth has created what I call the vehicle poverty trap, a situation where individuals earn just enough to service their auto payments, leaving virtually nothing for genuine wealth creation. Imagine running on a treadmill that accelerates endlessly. You're moving, sweating, exhausting yourself, but getting absolutely nowhere. Why do so many willingly step onto this financial treadmill? The answer lies in perception and social pressure. We live in an image-obsessed culture where the vehicle you drive serves as a status symbol, a quick, visible indicator of success to everyone around you. The automotive industry invests billions crafting narratives that link new vehicles to transformation, confidence, even romantic success. What they carefully omit from their glossy advertisements: the reality of gridlocked commutes on dreary mornings followed by unexpected repair invoices exceeding $600. Sophisticated marketing campaigns convince consumers that success can be financed, when in reality, they're being sold an illusion designed to keep them financially trapped. Take Tesla's Cybertruck as a prime example. The marketing didn't emphasize practicality or everyday functionality. Instead, it sold an identity, power, futurism, the feeling of living inside a science fiction narrative. Social dynamics amplify this pressure immensely. Driving a paid-off older vehicle that runs reliably, nobody applauds that financial wisdom. But arrive in a financed luxury sedan and suddenly people assume prosperity and success. The external validation feels intoxicating. I witness this phenomenon constantly, particularly among younger individuals. Far more energy invested in appearing successful than actually building genuine success. In communities where vehicle ownership carries special social weight, this pressure intensifies dramatically. This desperate need to project wealth causes people to stretch their finances to the breaking point. Eventually, the vehicle doesn't belong to them. They belong to the vehicle. The situation worsens when borrowers take loans exceeding the vehicle's actual worth. This might sound absurd at first. Why would anyone do this? Yet it's shockingly common. This predicament is called negative equity, or being upside down on the loan. During the fourth quarter of 2023, nearly 25% of vehicle owners found themselves in exactly this position. Imagine owing $40,000 on something worth only $30,000. That's $10,000 of negative equity, money you owe for value that simply doesn't exist. I've received numerous messages from newsletter subscribers who've shared how understanding these concepts helped them sidestep exactly these types of financial pitfalls and even implement wealth-building strategies I've discussed. These emails genuinely make my day, and I love the community we're building. If you'd like to join our Intel X community and receive these insights directly, check the description below. To escape the vehicle poverty trap that ensnares most people, you must understand the complete financial picture of that affordable vehicle gleaming under the dealership lights. The reality behind the price tag. Here's what most consumers don't grasp: the DISP. Delayed purchase price represents merely a fraction of true ownership costs. Let me illustrate with a concrete example. Consider the Honda Civic, the most frequently purchased vehicle among Americans aged 18 to 24. On the surface, it appears to be a sensible, responsible choice. The sticker reads $27,867. Reasonable, right? Now let's examine the actual cost of ownership across 5 years. Depreciation, $10,999. This value erosion begins the instant you drive off the dealership lot. Before you've even arrived home, the vehicle has lost 10 to 15% of its worth. Across 5 years, depreciation alone consumes nearly $11,000. Pause and consider that number. $11,000 simply evaporates because time passes and the vehicle ages. It's equivalent to paying $2,200 annually for the privilege of watching your money vanish into thin air. Insurance, nearly $12,000 over 5 years. That's a conservative estimate based on a 40-year-old driver with excellent credit and a spotless driving record. Younger drivers? The reality is far worse, potentially double that amount. Yes, you can reduce these costs somewhat through annual negotiation and avoiding brand loyalty, but even with aggressive shopping, insurance remains a substantial ongoing expense. Fuel, $6,415. Just keeping the vehicle operational. Energy costs have become increasingly burdensome for consumers. Financing charges, $4,719 over 5 years. This assumes decent credit and a 10% down payment. However, borrowers with poor credit face interest rates between 15 and 20%, compared to the 6 to 6.5% in this example. This is precisely why I constantly emphasize the importance of building solid credit. Open a credit card, use it exclusively for small recurring expenses, then pay the full balance monthly. Zero interest paid while demonstrating financial responsibility to lenders. Maintenance, $3,224. Oil changes, brake systems, tire replacements, the list extends indefinitely. However, basic outhours. Automotive knowledge can dramatically reduce these costs. My background includes competitive racing, so I understand vehicle mechanics intimately. This expertise has saved me thousands over the years. Learning to change your own oil saves $30 to $50 each service. Purchase an OBD diagnostic scanner for $20 to $30, and you can identify most issues yourself instead of paying a shop $100 just to connect their device and inform you what's wrong. Taxes and registration, $2,800. The government's portion, registration fees, road taxes, inspections, accumulated across 5 years. Repairs, $1,790. Budget for unexpected breakdowns over 5 years. These surprise expenses devastate unprepared budgets. Even reliable models like the Civic eventually require repairs beyond routine maintenance. This is exactly why maintaining an emergency fund covering 3 to 5 months of living expenses is non-negotiable. With vehicles, component failure isn't a question of if, it's purely a matter of when. Let's total everything up. That affordable $27,867 Honda Civic actually costs $46,821 over 5 years. But the story gets even more painful when we consider what economists call opportunity cost. The hidden price, what you're really giving up, this is where the numbers become truly devastating. Let's compare two individuals over 5 years. One purchases the vehicle, the other chooses investment. Choose the new Civic in our example, and after 5 years of ownership, you're left with $19,295, the resale value, assuming excellent maintenance and minimal damage. Your net worth has declined by over $27,000. No wonder vehicles are such wealth destroyers. Now consider the alternative. Taking that same $780 monthly payment and directing it into an SP 500 index fund. Based on historical average returns around 10% annually, after 5 years, you'd have approximately $60,016. Naturally, past performance never guarantees future results. However, following historical patterns, that represents a gain exceeding $13,000 in net worth. The difference? $40,721. By choosing the vehicle over investment, you're potentially sacrificing $40,000 of wealth. Most people repeat this cycle every few years throughout their entire working lives. This represents just one example of putting money to work for you. Alternative investments could include launching a side business, purchasing rental property, or building a full-scale company. The critical principle is making your money generate returns rather than draining resources. We haven't even discussed individual stocks or cryptocurrency, though these carry higher risk profiles. For perspective, investing that same $46,821 in Microsoft stock 5 years ago instead of the Civic would have generated a 224% total return. Your investment would now exceed $150,000. Let that sink in deeply. The identical money that purchased a depreciating vehicle could have secured a substantial fortune in one of the planet's most successful corporations. The point isn't that vehicle ownership should be avoided entirely. Rather, every financial decision carries an opportunity cost. Every dollar locked into a depreciating asset is a dollar not compounding in your favor. You might wonder, if this is accurate, why aren't more people investing? Honestly, I believe it's because most don't understand the practical steps involved. In previous generations, investing required contacting stockbrokers by telephone, a complex, intimidating process. Today, platforms accessible from your smartphone have democratized investing completely. You can establish an account, transfer funds, search for SP 500 index funds if you prefer simplicity, and begin immediately. Since I plan to discuss modern investing platforms anyway, I reached out to Trading 212AB, out potential collaboration for this segment. They agreed enthusiastically and are extending a free fractional share valued up to £100 for anyone using the code INTELX in the application's promotional section. When vehicle ownership makes sense. Now I understand the reality. In many locations, lacking personal transportation means forfeiting income opportunities. Research from Capital One discovered that 67% of respondents reported that vehicle ownership opened income possibilities that would have been impossible otherwise. This demonstrates clear opportunity costs associated with not having a vehicle. I'm not categorically opposed to vehicle ownership, but strategic thinking can still free up hundreds monthly for investment purposes. If you want both a vehicle and an investment portfolio, follow these 3 strategic steps. Step 1. Purchase in the optimal window. Buy vehicles 3 to 4 years old with 30 to 40,000 miles accumulated. This approach lets you avoid the brutal first-year depreciation hit while still obtaining modern safety technology, reliability, and often remaining manufacturer warranty coverage. A vehicle priced at $35,000 new might cost $24,000 at this age, an instant $11,000 savings available for investment instead. Step 2. Follow the 15% principle. Your total transportation expenses, including payments, insurance, fuel, and repairs, should never exceed 15% of monthly income. Earning $3,000 monthly? That's a maximum of $450 for all vehicle-related costs combined. Exceed this threshold, and you're dangerously approaching vehicle poverty. Step 3. Maintain ownership beyond 10 years. This is where genuine wealth accumulation occurs. Most people trade vehicles every 3 to 5 years. Absolute financial insanity. Instead, purchase once and maintain meticulously as though your financial future depends on it, because it absolutely does. Following these strategies might save you $300 monthly compared to buying new. That's $3,600 annually. Invested with 10% annual returns, this becomes more than $118,000 over 15 years. Worst, that could represent a house down payment funded entirely through smarter vehicle decisions. If you want me to guide you through establishing and managing an investment account with step-by-step instructions, I've created a detailed video walking through the entire process. You'll find that linked above, but don't click away just yet. If you're serious about building genuine wealth and escaping the financial traps that keep most people stuck, subscribe to the channel right now. We're building a community of informed individuals who refuse to accept conventional financial wisdom that leads to mediocre results. Every video we create is designed to give you actionable strategies the wealthy use, but rarely discuss openly. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next video where we continue your journey toward financial independence.